Hello everyone and welcome back to Lights Camera Conversation. I'm Lottie. This is
David. Hello.
David Mead, and we're back. It's the new year, a new you, a new business, new everything. So we're going to reflect on the year that has been and talk about the year that is coming. So 2025, best year yet, right?
Yes, incoming.
Yes. So is it going to be our best year, do we think? How's the last year gone? 2024, I mean, how would you... Highlights version on a bit like, let's go business level first. So on the business front, 2024, does it feel like it's been a good year? I mean, what are the takeaways, do you think?
I think so. What always stands out for me is when we do big projects of big crews and actors. And we did a few this year, I believe. Last year. Confusing when this was meant to be. But yes. So yeah, when we've...
It's the new year.
It's the new year. We are in January right now.
Of course we are.
Yeah. Yes, when we do projects that involve actors and lots of crew, when we get external sound people and makeup and all that sort of thing, that's always quite a really interesting shoot. Usually we are on a location somewhere and we all end up staying in a big house together, which is probably half of it as well, because everyone kind of gets on really well. And it's like you're just one big family for 2 to 4 days or however long it is.
We've done well for the trips this year because we got a little trip out to Vegas, didn't we? We sort of started working with a client who's based out there. So that was a real highlight, I'd say, from this year, because not only the work and the amount of work that we did in quite a condensed amount of time, but obviously we used that opportunity while we were there to sort of create some of our own content. So we sort of shot the opening part of our new ad that is going to be released this year. So very excited for that. It just needs kind of finishing off. So I think that's going to be a real highlight for this kind of next year coming. What else do you think's gone well in the business this last year?
Growing the team. Tom.
Yeah.
Was there, I think it was April, properly started, because we're having, not troubles, that's not the right word, but yeah, we're getting a lot of projects in, and you can only film a certain amount of things, edit a certain amount of things at the same time. So yeah, having someone around full time a huge difference. So I think ever since that day, it's been kind of non-stop for the production team, as well as shoots like I just mentioned where we're getting other people. So it's even right up till Christmas, it was pretty much non-stop.
Yeah, and I think like looking forward into this next year, I can definitely see the team kind of growing more. I mean, we've talked, haven't we? We've outlined a few positions that we think we might need, in terms of sort of post-production support, probably looking at animation, maybe sort of a little bit of sales, business development, client account management. So there's a few areas really of the business that we're going to kind of look at investing in and probably growing headcount, which would be exciting. And then looking forward to probably, building more of that kind of retained work that we've done a lot of over the last year or two, where we've worked more with, where we've got an established relationship with certain types of clients. It's kind of looking at content over a longer period of time. So this is more around strategizing content, I think, looking at where the gaps are within businesses, looking at what businesses want to achieve, and then designing the content to fit and provide solutions to those gaps. I think that's been a real kind of turning point for us this last year, because obviously clients are seeing, genuine good results with that approach and having that as the foundation. And then, of course, any campaign, any sort of specific bespoke project, then we deliver those as the sort of typical one-offs as we always have done, in addition to or on top of that kind of foundation. So I think for me, it'll be exciting to see how we can work more with clients in that way this next year, because, we know so much of content now is more around being consistent with your message, putting, lots of content out in the market, and it's constantly putting out kind of regular communications. So it's working with that format, for companies that are, wanting to communicate internally within the business as well as externally. So I think that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I think over the last 2 to 3 years, that's kind of the big shift that we've noticed. So people, rather than people coming to us and saying we need a video, we're just going to put it on our YouTube channel, and then their free subscribers see it and a couple other random people, and then we have a catch up with them a few months later and they're like, oh, hardly anyone watched it, and they wonder why.
Yeah, it needs a full strategy around it. And it's not just that, is it? It's you're handing over the video. It's then, making sure that there's the proper kind of marketing to support it and all the promotional side of which goes out with the content as well. It's like with anything, if you're building a marketing plan and campaign, it's very much to get the full picture of the jigsaw, if you will. It's lots of little pieces, and you've got to kind of click all of those together and, make them work together to kind of reveal that bigger picture of where you're going. And it's consistency. And I think for me, that is being the biggest thing on a personal level. So coming aside now from the business, I think that's been the biggest kind of life lesson learned from this last year on a personal level. It is being consistent and how good being consistent can be. Because as you know, as I've talked about quite a lot, I've done quite a lot of gym training and been quite interested in nutrition and calories, and bored everyone in the office and all my clients and everyone at home has been listening to it. But actually it's those little changes, those small changes that you make, but then doing them consistently is then what leads to the results. Because obviously for me, I've had, quite a big kind of personal transformation, I guess, this year from where I was, at the start of the year last year versus where I am now. I'm much fitter, much healthier, much stronger. And, you feel that, and that's good. And that's all come really from consistency. So I think for me, it's building on that as a theme for next year and seeing how much more I can kind of push that personally and then also within the business as well. What about you? What do you feel you've sort of personally achieved or come away from this year, looking back and reflecting and looking at what you're going to do next year?
Or slightly rewinding a bit, following on for what you said about consistency, part of that feels like when we're working with a client and it's become like there is a strategy and there is a campaign in there and it's over a long period of time, that we become more of an extension of their team.
Yeah.
So we're in close contact with them like all the time, doing stuff on a consistent basis. And like I said, it is lots of different pieces, but then a lot of the time it's putting those pieces out onto all the different platforms in different ways. Whether you shoot got a long version, then you got a short reels for TikTok and Instagram and that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's been a real move, hasn't there, I think, in the terms of content that we're producing around repurposing. And I think that's the good way of working with clients in that way. It's looking at, okay, let's devise a campaign. We could still create a bespoke project, but then how much more can we get out of that? So if we've got this mainline communication here, what bits can we take off? How can we re-edit those? How can we repurpose those? Do we need to clip some bits over here with that? What narrative can we create there? And then ultimately, you're getting a whole suite of content, which then lends itself to what we've talked about, the sort of little and often approach. And that's where I think clients, get the biggest amount of value out of everything that we do. It's not just the main piece and what that's being designed to deliver against. It's all the little offshoots, because that's the additional material around the big story that you can use to either build up some momentum to the release of something or use it afterwards as a follow-on campaign. And that's what really strengthens the overall piece, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to a personal thing, well, it's kind of the team as well. I think we've benefited a lot this year from doing like additional learning and training and stuff. We've gone to various courses and masterclass things, and myself and the other production team were always watching and sharing links to various technical things and always just playing with that in our own time, as then just applying it to whether it's our own marketing stuff like this, and then once we've nailed it and we know we're good at it, we'll do it for full client stuff. So always wanting to make stuff better and always wanting to learn and to, get more kit. And we've always got shopping lists that we ask you for, which most of the time you oblige and go on then.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Most of it is justified. So
yeah. No, it's fine. But I think that's great because it's sort of in line with, I guess, running experiments, isn't it? And, we've actually had a number of experiments this year on whether it's, as you say, with different types of narrative and story content-based stuff, using different bits of technical equipment or, utilising more AI tools or different technologies. Not everything this year, I would say, has been plain sailing. We have had a number of projects that have created, challenges for us, but that isn't something to sort of be worried about or shy away from. I think you've got to be experimental, and when you're trying to be cutting edge and at the forefront of the market and you're trying to push the boundaries of communications for clients, you have to take a few risks, you have to make a few mistakes and then learn from those and then kind of reapply it to the next project. So yeah, I think it's great that you guys are kind of doing that on the production side, and with our wider pool of contractors and people that work with us as well. We've also been pushing the kind of new tech side of what's out and what's fresh. So I think it'd be interesting to see how much more we can bring those tools into this year's communications.
Yeah. So with our advert that we're doing, it's interesting thing about that is it's very rare that we get to do something that's just for us. So you can have complete control. You don't have to answer to anyone. So
yeah, it's going to be wild.
Yes.
Have we got a plan? I mean, we've talked on and off, haven't we? It's I think it's the difficult thing is you've always got to practice what you preach, right? So we produce and create so much of our own content, so that's fine. But obviously this ad is a real level up. We've got some really big scenes in there, some really sort of pushing the boundaries, I guess, of what's possible or what we can do, how we're going to tell the story.
Yes.
Hang on, is that the ad playing? Because we need sirens in our ad.
Yeah.
It's part of the getaway.
Yes.
There you go, spoiler alert.
Yeah, we got some big locations, some big set pieces.
Yeah.
Also, its plan is to make it kind of very mixed media without giving too much away. It's live action, 2D and 3D, as that's what we do as well. So, yeah.
Watch this space. I think we're going to launch it probably at the start of our financial year, which would be April. Feels like that'd be a good time to kind of launch it. Got a little bit more time to get those scenes sort of done and dusted and build on, what we've shot overseas. So that will be exciting.
Yeah, so at the start of January we got a big internal meeting, and then we got already a few shoot days or half days planned for stuff that's here and other locations, and it's a case of animation guys to start doing some of that.
Yeah. We just got to work it out.
Yeah.
I might have gone online yesterday and bought something that's a surprise item.
Is it for the advert?
I don't know. I feel like it could work in the advert, yeah. It could work for a lot of things, I'm not going to lie.
So you can't hint at it now? Can you tell me in 10 minutes when we're not recording?
I mean, it links into the alchemy gold concept that we have, right? So we've got this idea of gold that is another spoiler, but sneak peek, that themes through the ad. So this item links to that. It's a little bit out there, I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Surprise!
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
I mean, it's coming from China, so
random thing
we're going to be waiting a while. Okay. It might just make it in time for April, but we'll see.
Cool, yeah.
It's going to be a good year. I feel it. I feel like this is going to be our next big year. We've cleared the decks with a lot of projects. We've got our new website coming and launching this month. We've done a big data project and some new infrastructure stuff. So, we've got ourselves into a good place, I think, for this next year. So it'll be interesting to see where we take it.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Any other final thoughts before we close out?
I The one thing that one of the other teams said we've got to try and talk about is New Year's resolutions. Can't even say the word.
Oh, okay.
And everyone always says it, and I always say, "Oh, that's the most stupid thing," and I hate it because no one ever keeps to it. I just wonder your thoughts on that.
Well, I kept to mine this last year. So I was like, I'm going to do the gym so many times a week. I'm going to log all my calories and keep all of the stats. And I have done it religiously since the 1st of Jan. But it's become so ingrained now. It's like brushing my teeth. So it's just now part of my life. But what I would say about New Year's resolutions, I think if you're setting one, it has to be something that you really, really want to do and really want to achieve. And then aside of that, you need to make it as easy as possible to make that change. And then with that, don't apply too much pressure on yourself. Just do a penny's worth each day towards that goal of what it is. So it's like improving it by a penny's amount, because that's the marginal gains and the consistency.
Yeah, with that very poetic ending, I think that's a good place to stop.
All right.
Yeah. It's like, think about everyone.
Cool. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Until next time. Bye.
Adios.